Hello chess friends, this is Sir Glenn and I'm back again with the part 5 of my opening chess analysis on Sicilian defense, poison pawn variation. So nung nakaraan, part 4, I've discussed the variation starting with e4, c5, knight f3, t6, t4, pawn takes pawn, knight takes pawn, knight f6, knight c3, a6, bishop g5, e6, f4, queen b6 initiating the poison pawn variation. And we all know kaya siya tinawag na poison pawn kasi white offers the b pawn for free. And instead of defending the pawn, white plays queen d2. Black takes up the pawn, rook b1, queen a3. And then white starts the attack with f5. Okay, so sa variation na to, white hopes to start an attack against black's king na malayo sa laban yung queen, no? So the battle ranges on of whether the black's queen can return into the defense. So black tries to dissipate white's initiative by exchanging a couple of minor pieces or knights, and then white continues to denude black's king. Susubukan niyang hubaran yung king, no? Tatanggalan niya ng mga pawn sa harap para makapasok yung pyesa niya, mamate yung king. So after pawn takes pawn, pawn takes pawn, this is a very important nuance. Tinuro ko to sa part 1 na kapag nag-take dito sa e6 ang white, the correct reply is pawn takes pawn, not bishop takes pawn. Because if black plays bishop takes pawn, white will take it with the knight on e6 and then bishop c4. So pawn takes pawn, knight takes c6. This is an important move again because of white's next move. After pawn takes knight, e5 initiates the standard attack in the poison pawn variation. Okay, so last time we tried to study d takes e5 or pawn takes pawn. Now we will now discuss other alternative to that, which is knight d5. Okay, so this in this position, white has nothing better but knight takes knight. Although na nagsucceed ang black na mabawasan yung minor pieces sa attack, magsasucceed naman yung white in terms of denuding black's king, no? So king in the center pa yung black, tapos isa-isang tinatanggal ng white yung pawn sa gitna para makapasok yung pyesa niya. So after pawn takes knight, white now has a choice of either playing bishop d3 or bishop e2. Both lines are acceptable. Now, it's not a good idea to play pawn takes d6 because after pawn takes d6, it will help black to develop bishop takes d6 and the next move would be castling. Medyo mahihirapan na yung white na ang idea niya nga is makakreate ng atake bago makapag-castling yung black. Okay, so after d takes pawn, after bishop e2, white has choice here, bishop d3 or bishop e2, pero most commonly played is bishop e2. So after bishop e2, pawn takes pawn. As you can see, lamang ang black ng dalawang pawn. Pero yung queen niya, malayo sa base niya, tapos wala pang nakadevelop na pieces. Whereas white, nakalabas na yung rook niya, yung dalawang bishop niya, at saka isang move na lang siya, magka-castling na siya, which is siya pa yung titira. So let's say white will play castle. Okay, let's analyze the position. Let's assess. Lamang ng dalawang pawn yung black, pero wala pang nakalabas na official. So that means any action na gagawin ng white para atakihin yung black, hindi makakapag-react na maayos yung itim kasi wala nga siyang official na nakadevelop or naka-ready para dumepensa sa position niya. And because of this, yung lugi na dalawang pawn ng white is baliwala dahil compensated siya ng activity ng pyesa niya. A sample variation would run, for example, c4, or let's say, tira muna yung black, bishop e7. And white would play, let's say, c4. Defending the pawn on a2, at the same time striking at black center. Okay, black would be unwise to capture on g5 because that would put white's queen in a very dominating position, no? Attacking both g7 pawn and e5 pawn. So that's out of question. So in order naman to prevent black from white from opening the center, d4 is quite seen as normal continuation for black. Pero pag yan ang ginawa, he's in for surprise because white will start his attack starting with bishop f3, attacking black's rook on a8. Now, kung mapapansin nyo yung rook, hindi siya makakaiwas na paglipat ng b file kasi kung nilipat niya sa b8 yan, kakainin siya ng white. So, ang tira niya lang is rook a7, which fails after bishop c6 check, bishop d7, and then rook b8 check. Which after harang ng black sa d8, rook takes bishop, mate. So nakita natin yung weakness ng back rank ng black kapag basta-basta lang siya nag-reply sa development ng white. Now, normally seen here is bishop c5 check, king h1, and then black plays rook f8. There's a famous game between two grandmaster, the name of Bobby Fischer, yung dating world champion, at si Efim Geller, which is a very famous player as well. So dito sa position na to, Fischer continued c4, following the idea na buksan yung gitna ng black since nandun yung king niya, hindi pa nakapag-castling. And then Geller continued by playing rook takes rook, which the main idea is kapag nag-recapture yung white ng rook, ma-free yung rook niya to move to the b file. Let's say for example rook takes f1, there's a possibility that black may play bishop b7 defending the d5 pawn. Para nga naman after pawn takes pawn, bishop takes pawn, medyo kontrolado ng black yung center because of his two bishops. Okay, if white now replies with bishop takes rook, then black gains an opportunity to either to play d4, which is wala ng bishop f3 move, no? Hindi katulad kanina nung nasa e2 pa yung bishop, meron siyang move ng bishop f3. Okay, so in this position, white chose to recapture with the rook, and black continued with bishop b7. Okay, now here Fischer played bishop g4, attacking the pawn on e6, which is quite normal move, pero it's not favored by computer analysis, no? So sinaksa ko na to sa computer analysis, and it says there that after bishop g4, white's position crumbles or pumabor na sa itim. After pawn takes c4, opening the long diagonal for the bishop b7 or the bishop on b7, and makes quite a dangerous pawn here on c4. White or Fischer assumes that after bishop takes pawn or bishop takes e6, kung titignan mo parang ang lakas nga ng atake ng puti, no? Because white threatens queen d7 mate, and white threatens as well as bishop f7 check. So it seems playable, no? But after Geller's move, which I think Fischer it's either overlooked or underestimated, is queen d3, closing the line sa pagpasok ng queen. At the same time, threatening to capture Fischer's rook on f1 or queen takes rook, mate. So Fischer has to defend it with queen e1. And then after bishop e4, Geller was able to close all the lines of the attack from Fischer's play. And Geller's two bishops, queen and the passed pawn on c4, takes precedence over Fischer's kingside attack. And the game went on. After bishop e4, resignable the position of white. But the game continued on with bishop g4. Okay, hopefully threatening bishop e2 or maybe bishop f3 para mawala yung konti yung pressure sa position. And then black continued with rook b8, bishop d1 para ma-prevent yung threat ng rook b1 sa queen, and then rook, kasi kapag halimbawa hindi niya tinira yan, rook b1 will come and then rook takes f1, simplifying the game, diba? Sa chess nga, kapag lamang ka sa official, it's very favorable to exchange pieces para maka-reach ka ng endgame na lamang ka sa pyesa. So after bishop d1, Black played king d7, no, not afraid of Fischer's rook, and Fischer gives the last check and then resigned after king e6. Okay, so now let's go back to the game where before Fischer played bishop g4. There's also another game which was played by Mikhail Tal, dating world champion, against Bogdanovic in Budva, 1967. Uh, which instead of bishop g4, white played queen c2, which is mas malakas, no? White threatens to invade with this queen on the king side. Queen takes pawn, and also trying to lure black into pushing his pawn on d4, no? Unlike bishop g4 na trinete niya lang na itik yung pawn sa e6, this is much more complicated in terms of activating the pieces. So for example, Bogdanovic played e4 just to close the diagonal, hindi makapasok yung queen. Tal continued with bishop g4, the same as Fischer played. But this time, uh, Tal's queen is more active than the queen of Bobby Fischer. Kasi after bishop g4 and Bogdanovic tries to play queen d3, there is a move which allows white to check on a4, which is more or less fatal for black. So hindi possible yon. So after bishop g4, Bogdanovic tried to play bishop e7, closing the second rank or the seventh rank for white's pieces. And then Tal continued amazingly ignoring the attack on bishop g5. So usually sa chess, 'di ba, pag nagtutukan, usually kapag mababa yung level ng player, pag tapat kain agad eh, no? Pero usually kapag mas sophisticated yung player, mas advanced yung level. Medyo he knows when to defend, kung kailan mag-exchange ng piyesa at kung kailan hindi. See, in this game, Mikhail Tal, the former world champion, shows his class, no, and the his knowledge or understanding of the position by playing queen f2. Okay, let's say black captures on g5. Okay, so let's try to analyze that. Tal will play queen f7, king d8 is forced, and then let's say actually here Tal can play queen takes bishop. Why? In this position, he threatens the rook on e8, at the same time threatens rf7, possible mate yan, no? Or queen takes bishop takes e6. I don't know how black can defend here. Let's say for example rook c8. Now bishop takes pawn comes, threatening queen d7 mate and queen takes rook. So force ang rc7, and then white will now start to win black's queen by playing queen b8 check. Hindi pwedeng harang, kakainin lang. King e7 and then queen f8 check. And after king takes bishop, kain yung queen doon. So hindi siya magandang line. So hindi pwedeng kainin yung bishop. Ang ginawa ni Bogdanovic, kahit late na, ang ginawa niya, nag-castle siya sa queen side, threatening to run for his life. But of course Tal, as we know, Tal is a very ruthless attacker, known for his brilliant combinations in chess, especially the in-between moves. Played bishop f4. Now white's queen or Tal's queen threatens to go inside by playing queen b6 and then possibly mating black here, or he can go queen a7 and then queen b8. Bogdanovic defended by playing bishop d6, sinarado niya yung diagonal, and Tal responded by playing bishop takes pawn check. And then after king d8, he played queen b6, a very beautiful move. I think Bogdanovic overlooked this move, no, kasi this queen threatens both queen takes rook and then bishop takes d6. So if black plays rook e8 for example, Tal would continue bishop d6, forking black's king and black's queen. Now, in this position, actually Bogdanovic can resign but continued on by playing bishop f4. Tal captured the rook on d8, and after king a7, rook b1, queen d6, bishop d5, bishop takes d5, eliminating yung danger na magkaroon ng double pass pawn sa gitna. Bishop takes pawn, and after queen takes queen, bishop takes bishop, and pawn takes bishop, it is clear that white can easily win this position. No? The black's king is cut off from the rest of the army, and white's king would simply march up the board and munch all black's pawns. Yung bishop wala rin siya magagawa yan para pigilan yun kasi green lang ang pwede niyang atakihin. Ang gagawin lang ng puti, atakihin niya yung mga pawns ng black using the combination of king and rook, and then placing all his pawns on white. Wala na makakain yung black. Okay. Okay, going back in this position, which the popular move bishop e2 is played, Carlsen made a different call. He played bishop d3. And after pawn takes e5, castle. Kung papansin mo, medyo advanced to dun sa ibang line kasi after bishop c5, king h1, medyo questionable yung rf8 dahil sa possibility ng atake sa h7, bishop takes pawn sa h7. So in this position, after bishop d3, castle, bishop d3, d takes e5, castle, bishop e7, king h1. Ayan, iniwas na ng white yung king para wala ng tempo pagdating sa diagonal, sa green diagonal. Check pa yung black, no? Black played e4, closing the diagonal to make rook f8 possible kasi kung ipi-play niya yung rook f8 agad dito, may kain dun yung white sa h7. So e4 first, and after bishop e2, it goes back to the same position na may weakness na yung black. Kung mapapansin niyo yung pawn structure ng black, hinaharangan niya yung activity ng puting bishop ng black, no? So hindi yan, never na magiging active yan, hindi katulad ng position ni Geller kanina laban kay Fischer. So after rook f8, white plays the thematic move c4, dislocating black's pawn in the center. And then suddenly blacks tried to be greedy, no? He captured the pawn on c4, which is a very questionable move. Bakit? Kasi ang idea nga ng white, i-open yung position para ma-atake niya yung black king. And then this move is actually helping white to do that, no? Well, it's hard to suggest in this position kasi talaga namang mahirap mag-suggest ng move, especially kapag yung king mo is stranded sa center. So I guess maybe a better alternative would be to swap rooks on f1 and then maybe play bishop d5. I think it's a viable alternative. But let's look at the position. This position after pawn takes pawn. By the way, this game is between Magnus Carlsen, the world's #1 player, tsaka challenger sa world champion natin na sa Viswanathan. Magkakaroon sila ng world championship match later this year. So, in this game, Carlsen was, I think, very young. 2004 pa tong game na to. So, probably 12 years old pa lang si Carlsen dito, or maybe 13, 14, ganyan. So, after rook takes f8, a very surprising move from Carlsen. Siya na yung kumain sa f8. Ano? Hindi niya na hinintay yung rook takes f1. Now, black has a choice between king and bishop. Syempre, if bishop, it allows white to play the move queen d8 check and then bishop h5, which leads basically to mate. After g6, rook f1, I don't know how black can survive this onslaught. Bishop check, queen f7, and then possible mate sa ilalim. So black has to take with the king. This is forced.